What is up, everybody? Welcome to FPL Q&A for Game Week 14. We literally only have until Tuesday before the next Game Week 14 kicks in. So we are going to fill the gaps with... Am I blocking my light? If I'm blocking my light, I'm blocking my light. We are filling the gap between now and Tuesday with 2 live streams. That's the plan, because I'm not sure I'll get the time to do all the research and edit and record, because I've got work every day from today till the game week starts. So we are going to kind of try and do our series, the my team and what we learned. So what we're going to do first is we're going to have a quick discussion about the scores from the weekend, and as always, in the comments or the chat, let me know what you're drinking. Of course, I'm still drinking alcohol because that's what I do on stream nowadays. Anyway, we'll start off with Saturday. No, it was Friday, wasn't it? We had West Ham versus Leicester. 1-1, no major points from there. If you didn't know, all of the points really came from 2 defenders if you wanted some big point scorers. It was kind of a dull game week in a sense. The massive scorelines came from teams that probably don't have massive ownership. On Saturday, we had Palace versus Stoke, with Crystal Palace getting a 2-1 win. Loftus-Cheek being the player that a couple of people may have had, and Sacco scoring as well in the 92nd minute to win Crystal Palace the game. Shaqiri being the one that scored for Stoke. Stoke have some good options in there with Shaqiri, and I believe it was Choupo-Moting that got the assist. Loftus-Cheek is one of the better £4.5 million options at the moment. And as far as the West Ham Leicester game, let's not skip over that too much. We had Kiyute, who no one's going to own, really score, although I think that's not the first time he scored this season. And Albrighton, who is one of those players that quietly gets points, and he's popped up with a goal in this game. Nice to see nice to see West Ham get a decent result. Not that it does much for them as far as the table's concerned. They're still in the bottom 3 on 10 points, just below West Brom because of goal difference. But yeah, slowly, I expected Leicester to win this. Moyes may be turning it around, but we'll have to wait and see about that. We then have Manchester United versus Brighton Hove Albion. It only ended 1-0, which was a real disappointment for a lot of people. I believe it was an own goal by Dunk, or was it Duffy? It was Dunk scored own goal. Basically, Ashley Young took a shot and it ricocheted off of Dunk, a very big ricochet, and went in. I don't think many people own Ashley Young. Everyone has like Lukaku or Pogba. Pogba and Lukaku did absolutely nothing, which means the poll we had from last episode actually turns out that Harry Kane was the best option, but there's no singing, there's no forfeit because he only scored 1. I was expecting more than that. Unfortunately, I think this is the first time this season he's only scored 1 in a game. Once he's scored, he usually scores 2. But yeah, from what I've heard, Spurs were pretty poor. We had Watford versus Newcastle, and I'm kind of pleased that I went with Pope in goal instead of Elliott, because Watford went and won this one 3-0. One of the few big score lines from the weekend. He might be called William, but Will Hughes scored in the 19th minute. Yedlin own goal and Andre Gray scoring. Will Hughes looks like he could be emerging as the best cheap midfielder in the game to have as your 5th midfielder, although do you really want those points sitting on your bench? But Will Hughes, that's the 2nd game in a row he's returned, and he would have made a big difference this game week because of the way the game week went if you did have him. We then have Swansea versus Bournemouth. If you had a Swansea or Bournemouth defender, you got the clean sheets. But other than that, it was a 0-0 draw. We then had Spurs versus West Brom, and Spurs conceded early to West Brom. Rondon scoring in 4 minutes, and it took until the 74th minute for Kane to get the equaliser. I mean, I'm happy that he got a goal because I was getting very worried into the second half. But we were expecting more from Spurs against West Brom, and they didn't really deliver. But hopefully with an away game next for Spurs, as far as I'm aware, we'll get some more out of Harry Kane. But I'm starting to think I've got way too many Spurs players in my side the way they're performing currently. And then we have Liverpool versus Chelsea. My plan was to watch this game and then yeah, I didn't have a great weekend from Friday to Saturday. There's various reasons behind that. So I didn't actually get to watch the game. But as far as I'm aware, Salah scored. And then Willian scored to get the equaliser with a Hazard assist. I think Oxlade-Chamberlain was the one that assisted Salah. Great for me because I've got Salah and he's been doing really well for me. But for some reason, Mane and Firmino didn't start. Klopp may be thinking about the next game in the fixture list. And then we move on to today's games, and we have Southampton trouncing Everton 4-1, which isn't something I expected. If you had Tadic, Austin, which I doubt, or Davis, you had a very good game week most likely, but I doubt many people still own those players. Sigurdsson was the one getting the goal for Everton. That actually put them at 1-1 at half time, and then they seemed to just collapse. Could this be a change of things at Southampton? I'm not too sure. Everton are a club that are currently a bit in flux, really, with changing their manager. So who knows what is going to happen at Everton. I wouldn't take this Southampton result as a sign of things to come from them, though. But it could potentially be. We have Burnley versus Arsenal. I had Pope in goal because I thought Pope was more likely to keep a clean sheet. And unfortunately for me, Sanchez scored a penalty in the 92nd minute. Otherwise, I would have been patting myself on the back for going to Pope. Although Pope was still a better choice than Elliott because Arsenal only won against Burnley 1-0. But Burnley's defence at home, very, very good. And they almost managed to keep Arsenal out for the entire 90. And then we have Huddersfield versus Man City. The lineup that ruined my Sunday evening. Otamendi scored an own goal. Fantastic. Cheers to that, Otamendi. You come back in the team, and I was hoping for a clean sheet. And I see the final result, and it's an own goal from Otamendi as well. Jesus didn't start, which I was pretty sure was going to happen. Aguero actually started, so hopefully that means Jesus will play in the week, in midweek. That might be the last chance I give Jesus, and then he's out for Morata. I haven't decided where the transfer will be. Sterling scored the second. I transferred out Sterling for Pogba with the idea of bringing Sane for Eriksen as my next transfer. Kind of wish I'd done it the other way round. Maybe taken Pogba out, taken Eriksen out for Pogba, and then I could have done a straight Man City swap. It is what it is. I could have had more points this game week, but for me, if we go to my team, you can see that for the game week, I don't know if this is all updated, but this is what's currently up. I managed to get 52 points. As far as I'm aware, the average is a bit higher than that. Alright, it might not be. Let me have a look at the live. I have an app which shows me a rough estimation of my live ranking. And we'll see if it's similar. It is pretty similar, to be fair, so I think that everything is updated. FPL average points is 43 and I got 42. Apparently the top 1,000 average was around 49 from what I can see on my phone. So I didn't do too badly. Game week rank of 1.07 million. That has mean I've risen in rank to 353,956. I'm now on 712 points. So the best performance were for me. Norton getting a clean sheet. A lot of people saying I maybe need to be changing out Swansea defenders, but they picked up a clean sheet in this game. Otamendi, of course, getting the own goal ruined things for me. But Salah managed to get a goal for me, as did Richarlison with an assist in the Watford win. And Jesus came on to get the assist. So I did get some points from him. And Harry Kane, of course, scored, which meant his points was doubled. I think he got all 3 bonus points as well. He got 2 bonus points, but that's fine. Decent scoreline from our captain. If Abraham hadn't come on for that little cameo, and it now looks like he's completely out. Oh, ineligible to face his parent club. Okay, that makes sense. He came on for like a minute, I think. How long did he play? Played for 6 minutes. That cameo cost me 2 points, because Carroll would have come on for Abraham. So thanks for that, Swansea. Much appreciated. As far as the FPL Today League, I'm up to 169th. As far as the top 10 goes, you can see it there. If you are in the top 10, congratulations. I'm not sure I see many of you guys in the chat from the top 10, but if you are in the chat, make sure to say what rank you are. Maybe we'll have a look at your team. I know Jeff Holt, though, does often frequent the chat. He got 69 points for this game week. He did take a -4, but as you can see, he had Daniels with a clean sheet, Fabianski, who looks like he's been a really good goalkeeper this season, although a quiet period there, but he's come through for this fixture. Salah, of course, Sterling. Damn it, you had Sterling. Hazard, who's looking very good. Callum Wilson alongside Kane. Callum Wilson, of course, not scoring, unfortunately for him. Calvert-Lewin would have been the better choice, but again, captaining Kane, 13th in FPL Today League, also in Kirkjoy's and in Freer's League, doing quite well in there. There's a Holty's Classic League. Why wasn't I invited, Holty? Also in the Let's Talk FPL, he's 43rd, so doing very well is Mr. Jeff Holt. So, as far as transfers that I'm considering for my team, as far as the lineup goes for my team, I'd probably be looking at Pope in goal again, just because I like Pope over Elliott. Otamendi against Southampton at home, definitely going in. Norton against Chelsea probably isn't wise. More likely to do that. I may hedge my bets and put Elliott in just so I've got coverage of both games. Davis against Leicester, I'm worried he won't play. He's played in the last 2 Premier League games, but I'm just worried he won't play against Leicester, which would leave me with Norton coming in most likely, or Carroll. Well, no, I need 3 defenders, and then Bemba doesn't play. So, as you can see, I need to slowly change my team. Eriksen, I'm thinking of transferring out, as I said, for Sane. Salah against Stoke, I like. Pogba against Watford, I like. Richarlison against Man United. Okay, not the best, but who knows? Watford could get something out of the game. They've been performing really well. Abraham isn't going to play, so maybe I'll just start with the 5 midfielders. And then maybe I will change Abraham for someone and he will come in. And then Kane against Leicester away might be my captain choice again. And I'm hoping Jesus will play against Southampton because he didn't start against Huddersfield. So that is the way my team looks. And I've kind of covered the transfers. The main players I'm looking at are bringing in Morata in for Jesus, Sane in for Eriksen. And then other than that, Carroll swapped to Will Hughes or Loftus-Cheek. And then, of course, I do need to change Davis and Mbemba as well. So a lot of moves I need to make, and I've only got 1 free transfer. Potentially, depending on what I hear from press conferences tomorrow, I may even make a -4 move the first time I will have done it in the season. So, that's given you guys plenty of time to get 48 people watching the stream. That is a great result. Thank you guys so much for all the support. It's much appreciated. Hopefully by my birthday, which is next week, Monday next week, not Monday coming, but the week after, we can hit like the heights of where we were at pre-season, where I think the highest I got to was almost 80 viewing. So we've got Teza Nico and Michael Foley in the chat. Michael Foley with 56 points from the game week, which means you're slightly better than me. I got 54, didn't I? Did I get 54? I'm all at 52, so 4 points better than me. So well done to Michael Foley. Isa T, good evening, sir. Rated Mega says make transfers tonight as a lot are rising. So let's have a look at the price indicator. As far as I can tell, Morata, Hazard, Grosh, and Callum Wilson and Salah are all due to rise tonight. So if any of those players are your transfer for this small little break, then you do want to be making your transfer tonight. Thank you for shouting that out, Rated Mega. The players that could also go up, who are close: Ramsey, Valencia, Speroni, Sermon, Mariappa. Pereira. Okay, I probably would ignore Pereira. Some of these options, like Tarkowski, look like he's going up as well. Tarkowski from Burnley. A lot of these players I wouldn't worry too much about. They're not really players I'd be looking at. Oh, to be honest, some of those players I just said are below 90%, so they're very unlikely to go up tonight. But those ones I said right at the beginning are the ones you need to worry about. Morata, Hazard, Salah, Grosh, Callum Wilson and Aaron Ramsey. Very, very likely to go up tonight. Big teams let all of us down, I suppose. It happens. That's where you kind of hope your defence comes into play. Unfortunately, I only had Norton really getting me a good return from my defence. Fortunately, I made the right captain choice, which is very important in a game week like this. Siraj says he doesn't think it was a penalty. Okay, I'll admit I've not actually watched anything of this weekend, apart from a little bit of the West Ham game and a little bit of the Liverpool-Chelsea game. Maybe if I get to the end of the chat, I will tell you all a story. And also, I do have a question to you guys about what I should do with my other channel. So we might get to that at the end, but I don't want to do that before any of the FPL stuff. Hi, Thomas McCarthy. How are you doing? Shashank Banadari. How are you doing as well? I've not actually checked if my notifications are on, so 1 second. You're just going to randomly see some things pop on the screen, because I've jumped on as quickly as I can because I saw Siraj wanted me to hurry up. So I didn't actually test that this works. Looks like it works. So yeah, that's alright. So ignore that. Although I do like seeing that pop up every now and again. Michael Foley, I have Aspilicueta. Should I go for one more Chelsea defender? I've heard a lot of people suggesting to double up on Chelsea. Their fixture list is definitely good. Swansea, Newcastle, West Ham, Huddersfield and Southampton. If I look at the team stats and see as far as attacking threat how poor those sides are, in the last 6 game weeks, West Brom are the lowest on 40 attempts on goal. So they were definitely in that list as far as I remember. No, they weren't. So never mind. Huddersfield were. They are second worst though, 43. Brighton Hove Albion are third worst. They are not in that list of teams. Bournemouth, again, not in that list. So they're not playing the worst teams at attacking. But again, they're not playing teams that are absolutely lethal. They're not playing anyone in the top 5 teams that are as far as attacking threat goes. So you could do that, but you could also look at Liverpool as well. They have Everton and West Brom at home. You've got Crystal Palace, who still have a pretty decent run, and Burnley, who have proven their defensive merit with Bournemouth, Leicester, Watford, Stoke and Brighton Hove Albion. So I think a Chelsea defender is a good idea. Do you need 2? I always think getting 2 is always a risk. Hello, another Hoops, and thank you, Shashank, for watching my video live for the first time. There will only be live videos, and we have just gone over 50 viewers. Thank you guys so much. Nice to see the stream and the chat growing again, almost to the same heights as it was during pre-season. Homebrew Stout is what Thomas McCarthy's drinking. Fakhri Mohammed, I apologise if I said that wrong. How are you doing? Thank you for joining the stream. Hi, Ayush Falur. How are you doing? Shashank got 77 points. Maybe you should be running the video, mate. You've done better than I have. My score, hopefully I've covered that. It was 52 points. It should be on the screen right now. Transfers made. Josh96 is giving up on the 3-4-3. Real DMC got 43 points, looking like a red arrow. Sorry to hear that, mate. Shashank, Badari, Ismarata and Asby Alonso must have. I think if you're going to be throwing those names about, you need to be mentioning Hazard as well. I reckon Chelsea coverage as far as attack and defence could be big over this Christmas period. So I would definitely consider at some point bringing in at least one defender and one attacker from Chelsea. Real DMC, my captain Jesus stuttering there. My captain Jesus disappointed, but sticking by him. Look, I think if he'd started, then he may have taken that penalty, and then he may have still got that assist, although he'd probably been substituted off. I'd stick by him for the next game because I feel like he will play. So, yeah. Quinton Jansen is in attendance, needs advice. Well, that's what I'm here for. Yeah, Pope. I thought, for so long, I thought Pope was an absolute stroke of genius, Yush. I thought I was going to come on and singing Nick Hope's praises. Nick Hope is the new Tom Heaton. But no. I'll probably watch the game and be absolutely gutted after I've watched it. Isa T's on the heavy whiskey. Nice. Good man. Should I keep Aguero? Look, I've given plenty of advice about Man City rotation, and I very rarely get it right, so I'm not sure I'm the right person to answer. If I was to guess what would be happening, I would say Jesus should start in the midweek game, and then Aguero would start on the weekend. But I think Pep may have some tactics involved in his decision as well, and if that's the case, he may be picking the best striker for the team they're playing against. Now, I don't know what that thought process is, but we know he's only going to start one while Mendy is out. He said this, so, and hopefully he won't go back on his own word. He's messed us up enough already. If he starts lying to us as well, that's going to really mess with our season. I will only be gambling on Jesus playing if I feel like I need to make my transfer somewhere else, because I'm fed up of the rotation and I don't think it's worth the risk. When Mendy comes back, they might both play, and then I think you can pick one and stick with it. But until then, I think I'm going to get off the Man City attacker option and go with Sane, because I think Sane with Mendy out is likely to play, because Sane's the only one that gives them the width on the left. So that's the way I'm probably going and leaning. So I would say no, don't keep Aguero, but I've been so wrong with the Manchester City team that I may not be worth listening to. We have Noah Joseph in the chat asking Morata or Salah for captain in your opinion. Morata or Salah, both good options. Salah's been the more consistent. Swansea and Stoke. Swansea is Chelsea at home. Stoke is Liverpool away. As far as their defences go, Stoke have conceded 75, whereas Swansea have conceded 66. So Stoke have conceded more shots on goal. They've also conceded more goals in the last 6. I do believe Chelsea had a big part to play in that, though. Shots on target conceded. Again, no, Swansea actually concede one more shot on target. And then shots inside conceded. Stoke conceded 50 shots inside their box to Swansea's 41. So if you take that on board and then actually look at the amount of shots players like Salah, who's had 25 shots, 18 inside, and Morata has had 13 shots with 11 inside, the stats suggest that you'd be better off going with Salah as captain. And I mean, if we just look at it back to back in the actual game, if we go to transfers and look at midfielders, Salah has returned points since game week 9. So that's 5 game weeks he's returned points. The 4 points is because he missed a penalty. If he'd scored that penalty, that would look even better. And he's very rarely blanked. 1, 2, 3, 4 blanks out of 13 game weeks. So 9 game weeks he's returned points. Whereas if we look at Morata, who has had an injury, so he's not played in every single game, but has appeared in nearly every single game to an extent, we can see that he's returned in the last 3 before the Liverpool game. But again, not as good a record, and there's been 5 times he's not returned points, 6 times he's not returned points. If we ignore the Palace game, that's 5 times he's not returned points. So the stats suggest Salah. As far as the games go, I feel like Salah is the real goal threat, whereas I have a feeling Hazard could be as much a threat, if not more, than Morata. Purely because I feel like Hazard's goal involvement may be better than Morata. Let's have a look at it actually. If we go to involvement, Hazard has a 50% goal involvement rate. Just for clarity, Salah has a 58% goal involvement rate. And we have Morata at a 50%. So Morata doesn't have better than Hazard or worse, but Salah has better than both of them. So I would go with Salah. Who knows what's going to happen, especially as the game is so close to the last game, but I would go Salah. 3-5-2 best formation. I played it last 4 game weeks and got 68. Oh, I thought that was your rank, and I'm like, that's way too high a rank. 68, 53, 79, 77. I'm just so stuck with the 3-4-3, but I think it's time I should try something different. Siraj Karanja, not talking about points, changed my captain to Lukaku instead of Kane. 5 minutes before deadline. KDB didn't get points, didn't have Salah, had Ali, going for 3-5-2. Now the thing is, Ali did get an assist, didn't he? So you're not too bad compared to Salah. But yeah, I think it may be time to change to 3-5-2 because I think there's so many more points or guaranteed points in midfield than there is up front. Do I take an 8-point hit to change Mariappa to Ziegler and Decore to Richarlison? They have a Man U, so I'm thinking not, but if they both rise in price, I can't do it. That's a difficult one. Let's have a look-see. Now, to be honest, Ziegler wasn't in my thoughts until this game week. At 4.4 million, he's more expensive. Did Mariappa at least play? He did play the full 90. He got the clean sheet. I wouldn't say there's any rush to make that move, because he's played the last 2. I mean, to me, that would suggest he's played 90 minutes in the last 2, and he's had good performances, clearly. I don't think he's not going to play anymore. So you could make that move, but again, with Man United around on the horizon, Ziegler is more likely, by the looks of it, to get points because of an assist or a goal. So you could make that move just to kind of maybe cushion the blow of a Man United win. If Man United did win, Ziegler might pop up and get some points that way. Richarlison is definitely a better option than Decore, but because you've taken a while to look at that, the price difference is now quite significant. Do I think Richarlison can score against Man U? It's possible, but do you need to rush that move with Man United's defence being so strong? There's a possibility Man United shut Watford out, so I wouldn't rush into Richarlison unless you're sure you need him for the rest of the season, because if he rises in price, you've said it's difficult to get him in. So I'd say yes. If you are confident in those 2 players, Real DMC, I would make the move. I am confident in Richarlison enough to say you should bring him in, especially if you think you might be outpriced with him further down the road. Because Ziegler I've only seen in 2 games, and yes, they've both been amazing performances, I wouldn't make the move just yet. But Richarlison, yes, I would back that move 100%. And can we get some likes on the video and share it, because we are currently on 61 people viewing right now. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Everyone new, thank you so much, but also thank you to you guys that turn up every single time I stream. You guys consistently show up, mean I always have this certain amount every time I stream, so it's seriously appreciated. Thank you so much. Gustoni, I'm thinking about Bournemouth striker Wilson or Joshua King. Joshua King is overpriced unless he's severely dropped, so I would look at Callum Wilson if you were going to go for a Bournemouth attacker. What price is Joshua King at? He's 7 million and he's still considered a striker. If he was a midfielder, I would suggest him more highly, but he's dropped 0.5 million, and Callum Wilson really hasn't had the same amount of games and almost has the same amount of points. So I would definitely suggest Wilson if you're looking for a Bournemouth attacker. 40 points for the false 9, just 40 points. Otamendi and Dunk's own goals. 2 own goals in a game week is killer. Sorry to hear that, false 9. Captain Sane, and he got booked after the game. Ouch. If you've got a drink, false 9, you should drink some of it, because that hurts. By the way, Quinton Jansen, Grosh really looks good at the moment as well. I'm worried I'm going to keep thinking I need to make other moves and not get Grosh in time. False 9, the one day I don't produce. That, I think it was a Yush, or was it someone else? They said, Captain Kane. Then when I didn't have him, or I took the captain's armband off, he produces. Kane seems to do that to a lot of people. I'm hoping this means Kane's going to go through a purple patch now and do really well. Maybe he just goes month by month. 1 month he does good, 1 month he does bad, 1 month he does good, 1 month he does bad. If he could just be a bit more predictable, that would be nice for us. Shashank, I think I answered that already, but it's 52 points. Toskafi got 48 points. Sorry to hear that, mate. Just below the average, I believe. My game week rank is 3k. Shashank, killing it. TP Football Analysis, TP is back. What is up, TP? Kane didn't score a hat-trick. What a shame. Imagine how many people would have been here right at the beginning if Kane had scored a hat-trick. Yes, I sold Sterling to Pogba. I wish I'd sold Eriksen to Pogba. It would have made a massive difference. TP Football Analysis, 542nd in your league. You know, it just means when you make the comeback, TP, it's going to be more epic. Quinton Jansen, Real DMC, I'm thinking of getting Hazard in for Richarlison. I'm believing that's rich. So I'm believing that's for Richarlison. I think Richarlison's someone you should be keeping in your side. Don't get me wrong, Hazard is someone you should be getting in. But I'm not sure it's a good move to bring him in for Richarlison. TP Football's Analysis, I made a sign saying Pellegrino out. Then Southampton won, but I still walked past Southampton's fan channel waving that sign around. Still pissed they didn't get a clean sheet. I might have to try and watch that video. Definitely might have to try and watch that video. That sounds quite funny. Aim Saturday, any plans on bringing in someone from Palace as they have a good set of games? If I'm bringing someone in, it would be Zaha or Loftus-Cheek. But it's not really the move I feel is urgent to make. Basically, Thomas McCarthy, you share us your team, and then the rest of us will do really well. Sorry guys, my chat has of course jumped to the bottom, which it does every now and again, and I'm trying to get through all the questions. I'm seeing some birds in the chat. The flock is flying. Fakari Mohammed, should I transfer in Pogba to change silver? To be honest, a lot of the top players in the game still have silver, and there must be a reason for that. So, whilst I am bringing in Pogba, he let me down this game week, and potentially silver's a good player to have. But I would say yes, but I'll definitely take that advice with a pinch of salt. Silver's clearly doing something right for some of the best players to keep him in their side. Quinton, can't argue with wanting Hazard, but Richarlison's very good, as are Watford. Definitely agree with you, Real DMC. Justin Grierson, how are you doing? 62 points. Otamendi transfer wasn't good. No, it wasn't, was it? But fortunately, you've got 62 points still. And Otamendi didn't get a minus. So, you know, it didn't affect your team too badly. So, at least I have that to stand by. Quinton Jansen, can we poll the forward formation? 2 or 3 up front? Of course we can. Alright, so what formation is best this season? We've got 3-5-2 or 3-4-3. Bang. There you go, fellas. Should be in the poll. You might need to refresh the stream. But yeah, if you refresh the stream, there's a new poll up. What formation is best for this season? Thomas McCarthy, you tweeted me. I will try and get to that tweet after this stream. No promises. My Twitter time is limited, and I also hate trying to answer questions when I'm limited in my answer. Matthew Berry, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining the flock, new viewer. Hopefully that is why the birds are in the chat. If the birds aren't in the chat, can we get some birds in the chat for a new member of the flock, Matthew Berry? Thank you for joining the stream, my man. Still gutted Arsenal got that soft penalty, allowed them to overtake us. Got 53, Raheem was on the bench. Ouch. To be honest, I thought Raheem might be rested. And obviously you did as well. So I feel you, brother. I feel you. Blessing Arolo got 67 this week. Well done, my man. Nice to see you in the stream. Thank you for joining. Hazard and Ngoy in for Abraham and David Silva. Ngoy? Who? Am I missing something? Who is that? If I knew who that was, I could maybe comment, but I'm not sure who that is. For some strange reason. Abraham, I think, might be time to get him out for someone else, though. Hazard is better than David Silva as an option, but that's why there's such a big price difference. So if you can, I'll potentially go for it. Does bringing in Salah now make any sense? I mean, I can see why you'd ask that question, boss man. Thank you for the question, by the way. Because right now, Salah is skyrocketing in price. So a bunch of us got him when he was 9 million. He's now 9.6, which is quite expensive. He's overtaken the likes of Eriksen and I think Dele Alli. I'm not sure what Dele Alli's price is. But you have cheaper options like Mane and Coutinho. But if you just look at the point difference so far, 95 points to 45 and 36. Now, yes, both of these guys haven't played all the games Salah has. But Salah seems to be massively involved in the goals that Liverpool are scoring. And if they continue to score, you're just going to be watching this potentially be the top scoring midfielder in the game. And then you don't have him when you could have brought him in for 9.6. If he keeps playing the way he's playing, you could be looking at the end of the season going, why didn't I have Salah? The only player anywhere close is Sane, and he's 14 points behind. Sterling is also close. That's why I keep thinking I need one of these two instead of De Bruyne. Not that De Bruyne's doing badly. But then if you look at this, Grosh and Richarlison, to be honest, part of me thinks I should just go Grosh for Eriksen. And then potentially Carroll to Sterling. And then just accept the fact that I'm not going to have the top two scoring midfielders. But if you look, Salah and Sane, both 80 points up. Salah a lot over 80 points. Strikers. Top scoring striker, Aguero, 75, rotation risk. Morata has been injured, but potentially could be one you need to bring in. Kane, very on and off so far, 74. Lukaku, 72, on and off. Jesus, 66. Lacazette, who everyone had high hopes for at 10.3, 53. The points are in midfield. I mean, I've only just looked at it now, but the points are in midfield. You could get £5.9 million player and a £6.6 million player scoring as many points as some of the most expensive players in the game. So, I mean, that's not even difficult maths. That's just common sense. Like, Azpilicueta, 76 points at 6.9 million. I know where I would vote in the poll I've just put up right now. Of course, that could change massively. If two of those strikers go on a tear, then clearly, like say Kane and Morata starts banging them in every week, then you want to get those two in. But if you can get those two in and have Richarlison and Grosh, and then one of those expensive midfielders that is doing well, like Salah, you're going to be laughing. Kind of wish I had my wild card now. May make me change my tactic next season. But I didn't start very well, so I needed to play my wild card, I think, this season early. Real DMC, when is Pep going to realise Jesus is the man and play both strikers? I mean, the problem with Pep is he wants width in his team. And can I just say, we're now over 70 people watching the stream. So, guys, thank you so much. This stream is even better than the last stream, which is surprising because the last stream went really well. Pep needs the width in his formation. That's what he feels. So that is why Sane is playing, and that is why he's only going to play one up front. Because I feel like when he has wing-backs that can supply the width, that is when he's going to play Jesus and Aguero. So when Walker and Mendy are both fit, they'll both play. He tried Danilo at left-back, couldn't provide the width. He's trying Delph, and while he's probably happy with Delph's defensive contribution, because he keeps playing him, he's not happy with the width that Delph delivers in the left-back role. So Sane's going to keep playing, and he's said outright, if Sane's playing, then you won't have Aguero and Jesus. So to me, that says Sane's the nailed-on player. So bring in Sane. That's the way I see it. Could be wrong. I've been wrong so many times. But yeah, that's the way I'm reading it right now. Ayush agrees with me about Salah. Nathan Brown got 65 points and captain Lukaku. The rest of your team did bits if you got 65 points with a captain like Lukaku for this game week. Liverpool have really good fixtures. Yes, they do. Thomas McCarthy being a bit militant there. Please like and share now, people. You got any alcohol by your side? Of course I do. Why are you asking, TP? Although I do need to top the fridge up. I'm getting a bit low. And with you guys supporting the stream so much, yeah, I'm on for longer. Because again, I was hoping this would be a short stream. I've got work tomorrow morning. But as far as I can tell, still got a few questions to answer. But that is why I'm here, to try and answer as many questions as possible. I prefer this way much more than Twitter, than doing videos about it. So, Willian ruined the week for me with his stupid flukes. Oh, did you have Liverpool defend? Oh, you're a Liverpool fan as well, of course. Florin Sandu, Norton stuck on my bench. Sorry to hear that. To be fair, even I thought Bournemouth would score. I just put Norton in because it seemed a better option than whoever else I had as an option to put in. I think Davis, Otamendi and Norton. I think me was against Arsenal, and I was already taking the risk with Pope, and then Bemba just doesn't play. But I thought that Bournemouth would score. So if I had the choice, Norton probably would have been on my bench. Justin Grierson, Lukaku to Morata. I hope it works out better for you. I think that's a good move. City and Arsenal were both soft pens. Yeah, but Ayush, if we had those players in our Fantasy Premier League teams, and we'd probably be very happy that they got the penalty. We have a new member of the flock. Can we have some birds in the chat? Alex Howlett has joined the flock. The flock is still continuing to fly higher and higher. So thank you so much for joining the stream, my man. Hazard and Ngoy for Abraham and David Silva. I have 6-7. I had 6-3 Saturday night. I don't know who Ngoy is. I'm sorry. I'm sure you've said lower in the chat. I will get there eventually. Yish Falur, I feel big teams get the decisions their way more often than not. I suppose, though, when everyone is shouting at you, like fan-wise, then especially at home stadiums with big teams. I mean, I've never been a ref, so I don't know. I don't know how it goes. But it does seem that way to me as well, and that's coming from a small club supporter. Jeff Holt, hi Jeno and fellow flockers, bit late as I was watching the whole add-on stream, so you can get benefits. How is things? Thank you, Jeff, and that just, I'm going to explain why. I was going to explain why, but we've got another member of the flock, so more birds in the chat. Jankle Jar has joined the flock. Thank you so much, my man, for subscribing to the channel. Hope you enjoy the stream and ask any question that you want. As for Jeff Holt's comment, if you watch the advert, the whole of the advert, the entirety of it, it helps me out so much. Of course, you guys are helping by just being in the stream, but if you want to do that little bit extra, watch the advert. Sometimes the advert's decent. A lot of the times it's rubbish. But, you know, all the support, I'm going to take it if I can get it, you know. You only live once. I'm going to take all the ad revenue I can. It's not that high yet, but I'm still going to take it. What's the average points this week? The average points, I believe, was 49 off the top of my head. Average points was 43. I've overestimated that. Average points was 43. So, to be honest, as long as you're above that, unless you're really high in the rankings, you are good. Julian Engoy, Stoke guy. Yeah, 4.5. That's really cheap player. Like, has he been returning any points though? Was he even playing? I mean, according to FPL, he didn't exist until Game Week 10. I mean, if you're just using him as bench fodder, but I am a proponent of you need players on your bench that at least play, just in case. But if you are going for the strategy of, I don't care about my bench, I'm just going for the strongest side ever, then fine. But if you pick up 2 or 3 injuries, you're going to have like a 8-man squad or a 9-man squad. So I wouldn't say yes to that, because I personally would never recommend you go for a player that doesn't play. But if you're going to do it, the cheapest option is the best. TP Football Analysis, I do have a second account. It's just called JNO. I think it comes quite high on the search if you just type in JNO. It was a Football Manager channel. To be honest, I'm in and ahhing about getting Football Manager. I do enjoy playing it, but I enjoy playing it more on YouTube, and I'm not sure I can commit the time to it. So yeah. Ayush Falur, it's highly recommended you have a full squad of 15 starters over festive periods. Definitely. Over the Christmas period, with the rotation, you want all your players starting, and ideally you don't want any of these reds or anything. You want to have a 15-man squad, because players will get rested. So I definitely wouldn't deliberately have a player on the bench that isn't starting. Real Dim Sequence, and I have Aspie and Morata at a minute. You want Liverpool, Chelsea and Man City attacking players. Definitely, I agree. I've got 1 Liverpool. I've got 1 Man City. And that should remain. And one of those Man City might come out for Chelsea. So, yes, I agree with that. I think Spurs, you can just do with Kane. So, I don't think you need to get a Spurs midfielder the way they're playing at the moment. So, guys pimping out my channel for me. Thank you very much, AM Saturday and Ayush Falur. Fire Tog, 63 points. First time in top 50k. Can we get a round of applause in the chat for Fire Tog? First time in the top 50k. Congratulations, my man. I know how good that feels when you start breaking boundaries and getting rankings that you've not got before. So congratulations. Kibby Pinelli, should I keep David Silva? Alright, so my issue with David Silva is there's 3 Man City players that score more points than him. 1 is cheaper. The other 2 are more expensive. But if we look at midfielders in general, you've got 2 players that have scored more than him that are significantly cheaper. So I don't see the point in Silva. Same as I don't see the point in Eriksen. I could have swapped Eriksen out for Grosh and had some money to pimp out my defence. Ramsey isn't too far behind Silva. Is £1.4 million cheaper and plays for a big club. So that is why David Silva to me doesn't make sense. The reason it does make sense is because he seems pretty nailed on as far as playing in the Premier League. The only other player that looks as nailed on is De Bruyne. So whereas Sane and Sterling have both been taken off, but Salah has been nailed on for the majority of the season, apart from this game week 2, where I think a lot of people lost faith and transferred him out. But Salah's played nearly every game. Grosh, no worries about cups or Europe or anything, played every single game. Richarlison played every single game apart from the first game because he probably wasn't match fit by that point. But if you have Richarlison, Grosh, Salah, and because you've got Richarlison and Grosh, you can have one of these 3. Your midfield's better overall. So that's why I think David Silva isn't needed at the moment. And you could even look at Ramsey, only 5 points less, £1.4 million cheaper. So I don't think anyone should really be keeping Silva, but that's my own take on it. Ayush Falur's exams went pretty well. I'm glad to hear it. Let me know what you study, because I don't know what you study, actually. I don't think I've ever asked you. So I hope you get a really good grade. I kind of messed up my uni. But that's another story I could tell on potentially what could be my use for the second channel. Sahaj Marar, captain for Game Week 14. I'm going Kane, because I'm a glutton for punishment. I just feel like Kane has the potential to come out with a brace. I know I've been waiting for it for a while. I'm almost tempted to go Salah, because the amount of times I've considered it and not done it, and I've been burned. If I'd just done it the last game week, Kane actually got me more points with a captain's armband. But if these 2 weeks, if I've not gone Kane and I've gone Salah, my rank would be incredible. So I'm tempted to go Salah, but knowing me, I'll stick with Kane and then be nervous again during Tuesday and Wednesday. How about Benteke? Is he going to play 90 minutes finally? I mean, the way it's going at the moment, I'd assume they would bring Benteke in, because he is a decent striker for the Premier League. But if Zaha and Townsend's working, unless they're going to play them either side of Benteke potentially, but I wouldn't look at Benteke until he starts getting some significant game time. There's no rush to be bringing in someone like Benteke, especially at his price. He played 45 minutes, didn't do much. There's no rush there to look at Benteke in my opinion. Florin Sandu tried the 3-5-2. Apparently it didn't work too well. Okay, we have some poll results for Are You Fed Up of Aguero and Jesus rotation. 85% of you have said yes, you're fed up. Only 7 people voted. Come on, there's more than 7 of you in the chat. Hopefully you're voting more on the next one. Are you fed up of Aguero and Jesus rotation? Yes. 6 people, 1 by no. Probably doesn't have either of them. That's why he's not bothered. We're going to delete the last 2 ones. The other one we had was Harry Kane or Romelu Lukaku for captain for Game Week 13. Everyone voted Kane, and Kane was the better choice. So it could be that the masses are getting these opinions correct. And then let's have a look-see at what formation is best for this season. 3-5-2 at the moment has 7 votes, 87%. 3-4-3 only has 1 vote. So it looks like everyone's agreeing with the 3-5-2 being the best way forward. Ayush Falur, I brought a real surprising players. Hegazi in for Stone, what do you think? I know it's a risk, but hey, playing it safe hasn't done me any favours till now, did it? Hegazi is a risk. I mean, Hegazi is the player that everyone was raving about for a very brief amount of time at the beginning of the season. I don't like it, but fortune favours the brave. If Hegazi does well, those are points you're getting that only... And to be honest, his ownership's probably inflated because of the amount of people that have probably stopped playing. But Hegazi is owned by 18.5%. Now, I guarantee you about half of that are people that have stopped playing. So they're probably way lower than you anyway. So if Hegazi does well, I think you're definitely going to rise in the rankings. Gary B on the Fosters. Not my favourite, if I'm fair. Like, I think because when I was young and I first started going to pubs, and don't dob me into the police, but I started going to pubs before I was meant to. It was a lot easier back in my day. God, I sound old. But Foster's was the drink I knew because I'd seen it on TV. So I asked for Foster's, and I drank lots of Foster's. And Foster's is the beer that I probably drunk too much of too often because I was so young, and I just don't like it anymore. It's my least favourite beer. But hey, you can drink Foster's, I can drink something else. We're both still drinking beer. Nathan Brown, who shall I get rid of out of Jesus or Lukaku to get Chelsea cover in? For safety purposes, I'd say Jesus, because at least with Lukaku, you're probably got a player that is definitely going to play. By the way, if you haven't already, like the video and share it. See if we can get up to 80 people watching, because then we really are hitting pre-season numbers. As I said that, we dropped 2 people viewing, so oops. Anyway, that is doubtful one, mate, as Hodgie probably will not be starting him anytime soon. I mean, he's got 45 minutes in the last game, so potentially he's trying to get him back in slowly, but I would only be looking at Zaha and Loftus-Cheek from Palace. Gary B's hating Man City this week. Otamendi, Silva and Sane gave me a total of 2 points. Wow. 3 Man City players, 2 points. There was a period of the season where we did not think that was possible. Isa T, after watching Man City Huddersfield, I think Aguero is a must-own. He could get a hat-trick this game week, but he has been unlucky with his finishing. That's the thing, though, because Kane, I'm not saying I've watched all the games, but Kane is a similar thing. Because if we look at the last 6 game weeks, at the total amount of attempts, Kane has been the striker having the most amount of attempts on goal for nearly the whole season. But sometimes he's just not converting. His goal conversion is at 10.7. You have Morata, who's got goal conversion of 15.4. Aguero has conversion of 30, which is much better than Kane. He's had less chances on goal in the last 6 game weeks. He's only had 10 chances, but the thing is, all 10 have been inside the box, whereas Harry Kane has had 12 shots from outside the box. So Aguero likes to shoot from inside. He's also joint for big chances with Harry Kane, despite having less chances. So the quality of his chances is good. Gabriel Jesus, with a lot less playing time than a lot of players, not less than Aguero, but less than Murray, less than Kane, has had 8 big chances. And in the last 6 game weeks is one of the top scorers. So even though he's not always starting, if you had him over the last 4 game weeks, he's actually scored more than Kane and Aguero. So there is something to the people saying pick one and just stick with it. But it's always difficult seeing that starting lineup and your player isn't starting. Isa T, oh no, answered that one already, I think. Bossman X, do you reckon Sterling will be rested in midweek, seeing that he played the full night in both the Champions League and against Huddersfield? Who are Man City playing? And my answer would be yes, but against Southampton as well, apart from the last game week just gone, Southampton haven't really been much of an attacking threat, so potentially he could rest some players for them. But I really don't know with Pep. It's just really hard to read him. I've been trying for 13 game weeks and I've not been successful. AM Saturday, yes and no. ST as there's high change and it's hard to have both score goals in one game. Thomas McCarthy. Oh, we've gone down in people viewing. 65. I mean, we are hitting the hour mark. And apparently the sweet spot is an hour for streaming on YouTube. A £4.6 million defender, please. Well, this Ziegler guy looks pretty decent, doesn't he? Alright, who jumps out to me? Who's been doing well and not been noticed? Loughton. 53 points, 4.6 million. But I'm assuming you probably have me already. You have Daniels, 4.9, too much. Norton, 4.6. He's quietly been getting points. I know no one has that much faith in Swansea, but that's not too bad for a £4.6 million defender. A decent amount of clean sheets for the price. You've got Kiko Firmino, but a lot of people are looking at Ziegler, of course, right now. You've got Duffy, although Duffy's recently got out of favour with a lot of people after this game week. And you've got Zanka as well. To be honest, other than the ones I just mentioned, I wouldn't even look at the next page. I think you've got enough there to pick from. The one I would go with personally is Norton, because he's pretty damn nailed on. and he's done pretty well for himself. That's, of course, assuming you don't have one of Burnley's cheap defenders. Because if you don't have one of Burnley's cheap defenders, I'd suggest those. Get rid of Lukaku and Nathan Brown from AM Saturday. JNO, don't make attempts to guess City lineup. I benched Raheem and he was smug, thinking he won't start. I think he just throws darts at the selects bloke whom he lands upon. I was pretty damn smug that Jesus was starting. Until I read that lineup, I was convinced I had 3 players playing today. Convinced. So when Pope didn't get the clean sheet, I was like, at least I've got Otamendi and Jesus. I never crossed my mind that Jesus wasn't starting, because I was like, Aguero played all of the Champions League game. But yeah, I got burned. Okay, Tom Scarf says not Burnley. So yeah, I'd go Norton. And if you have Norton already as well, then you're being a bit picky. But Kiko Firmino, and I wouldn't go Tarkowski because he's Burnley. And then Duffy would be my other choice despite his own goal. Hazard for captain. I mean, it's getting to the point where he's got to be a candidate now, doesn't he? Chelsea are playing Swansea. It is at home. So if you've got Hazard, he's definitely an option for your captain. Apart from Sanchez, I've always been someone that captains my strikers. But Sanchez at times has been pretty much as good as a striker. Thomas tried Hegarty or someone from Bournemouth. I'd agree with the Bournemouth bit. I'm not too fond of Hegarty. Alright, Jeff. I mean, I don't understand why you don't have your own YouTube channel. Jeff says, on the last stream, he did say this. I remember it. Keep an eye on midfield points. And he had Hazard, Sterling and Salah. So the smug guy is just bragging it in my face. Nah, I'm joking. Yush Valeur, read that already. Should I keep David Silva? I've already suggested not, because there's 2 options that score more points that are much cheaper in Grosh and Richarlison. And then there's Ramsey, who's only scored like 4 or 5 points less, who's £1.4 million cheaper. And there's 3 Man City players in midfield that have scored more than David Silva. So no, I wouldn't keep David Silva. AM Saturday wants to get rid of him. Sane and Sterling tend to get more goals over Silva. Yeah, to be honest, I'm going to say this and try and remember it for next year. Silva always seems to start off really, really well. I had him at the start of last season, and he was my saviour. The reason I stayed quite high ranked a lot of the times, a lot of the game weeks, was David Silva, and then I took him out at the right time. David Silva seems to start off a season strong and then slowly kind of take a back seat to everyone else. That is a good point, Ayush. Joe Gomez. Liverpool's defence are good at home. I will concede that, but they're still poor overall. But Joe Gomez has looked great, both playing and underlying stats as far as fantasy football is concerned. Okay, I won't even read your comment, Ayush, because I don't want to say the name that might make you leave the chat. Shashank Bandari going without Man United attack. I'm not a fan of Lukaku. I think he's too patchy. I did have him at the beginning of the game because I thought he'd have a strong start. But I think, and I'm saying this about a guy that's let me down a lot, I feel like Kane is more consistent, and I feel like Morata is going to be more consistent. And I feel like both Jesus and Aguero, if they could start every game, are better. So Lukaku seems an over-expensive option for me that isn't necessary unless Man United have an incredible set of fixtures, which they did at the beginning. Should I keep... by the way, Mariappa is suggested as a cheap defender. Very cheap if you want the money to be spent elsewhere. Should I keep Rashford and Vardy? To be fair, I'd say neither of them are must-haves right now. I think it's general consensus amongst the chat, as well as from myself, that the midfield is where you want to be spending the money. So one of them probably would enable you to have a stronger midfield, but I'm not sure you need both of them. AM Saturday with Liverpool, there is a high chance of getting a -1 in defence. With Liverpool, there's a high chance of just losing the will to live if you're watching the game as far as defence is concerned. Sorry, Liverpool fans, but once you have some, like, a couple of really bad moments in a row, it kind of sticks in my head. So, apologies to any Liverpool fans in the chat. If Jamal Rice is here, definite apologies. Still keep faith in Kane for captain against Leicester. I probably am going to. We'll see if that pays off for me or not. I just have a feeling he could bounce back into form very quickly. Shashank Bandari, Man United don't have an attack or defence. Our defence isn't bad. That's true. Man United don't have an attack really without Pogba. I'm sorry. Without Pogba, the attack looks poor. If Ibra comes back in, I would maybe consider Ibra. I don't know what his price is, but Ibra's the type of player that can score from like one chance, have a poor game and then just score. I mean, he had a really good run at one point in the game last season. 10 million though. Not sure I'd take him over Morata, so never mind. Joshua Oram, I know. The reason I didn't do it this game week is because I thought I could predict what Pep Guardiola was going to do, and I was wrong. That is a planned transfer, and I think I may have to do it now because I think Morata's going to rise. But yeah, I just feel like Jesus is going to start the next game now, which probably will happen, especially if I transfer him out. Yeah, let's not talk about Lovren, worst defender in the Premier League. Gatam Agual, keep Rashford, Vardy or sell. I think I've already answered that. Again, guys, if you could, don't ask questions twice. Just because I will get to every question if I see a question. Especially, please put a question mark on it. If you don't put a question mark on it, if I don't feel like it's going with the natural flow of the conversation, I may skip it. Arsenal defender, is it safe? From Michael Foley. Who have Arsenal got in the next couple of fixtures? Well, Huddersfield, I think you're pretty safe. Man United, it could be a bore draw. So, and then Southampton, West Ham, Newcastle. Can't see a problem with an Arsenal defender right now. Shashank Bandari, from where do you take all these stats? It's all in my mind. I'm not reading it from anywhere. I'm just full of football knowledge. I watch games and my brain calculates it. Or I'm part of a website called Fantasy Football Scout, which has a members area where you can read all of these stats. It's very Fantasy Premier League focused, so it's not stats as say who scored or somewhere like that, where it's mainly football stats. There's stuff like goal involvement, there's assists, but there's FPL assists, because what counts as an assist in FPL doesn't always count as an assist in real life. Jeff Holt donating £2. Why do I think I'm American? £2 to the stream. Thank you so much, Jeff, for the donation. No questions, just thanks for my efforts. Much appreciated, my man. Much appreciated. Always nice to get that little bit of a thumbs up for the work I do. Jeff, I'm not sure how long you've been a subscriber, but you're definitely becoming one of the mainstays in both my Twitter, my YouTube, and the streams. Sorry, I always lose my track of thought when someone donates money because I'm just a bit overwhelmed that someone would. So yeah. Thomas McCarthy, Carroll out for who? So, back to business. For me, you're looking at two options off the top of my head, without actually looking at them, and that would be Will Hughes and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Chalobah, would he get back into the Watford side now? But if he would, he was someone I was very fond of initially, but then he got that injury. So, alright, ideally we want to look at total score. There we go. So, I've said this a couple of times, but Sermon has quietly been scoring points. So, over the long term, but that is because he's been playing. Apart from that game there, he's nailed on. The fact that he's nailed on is a plus in itself. Sermon is one of those you could just put on your bench, and if he did come on, you could be confident that he might get you some sort of return. So Sermon's definitely one to consider. Not really covered much by many in the Fantasy Premier League, but that sense of security, especially when the fixtures get congested, is very good. Again, Jack Cork, again, not one mentioned much, but has like snuck in with an assist and a goal, and consistently plays, and occasionally gets bonus points as well. Very occasionally, but still quietly getting points because he's always playing. Even Stevenson's, again, always playing. If Brighton have a good run of fixtures, maybe consider bringing him in. Of course, a good run of fixtures for Brighton's less likely than for the big teams. Whilst Carroll's not done the business we all wanted him to, again, very consistent as far as his starts, not consistent as far as returns compared to Sermon or to Andrew Sermon. Loftus-Cheek did have the injury, but when he has played, he has the potential to get these points. So that is why Ruben Loftus-Cheek is one off the top of my head. Will Hughes hasn't been playing and now has started, and last 3 games he's started and returned points in the last 2. So, and his price will keep going up if he does keep continuing to do that. So definitely look at Will Hughes, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and I'd say Sermon. Other than that, maybe if Chalobah is here. The reason I liked Chalobah was because he seemed to be very dominant in games, but if you look, he didn't actually return anything. So that's not necessary to bring him back in straight away, but it'd be one to watch for me. And I think Albrighton is slightly more expensive. I think Albrighton reaches the 5 million mark, but he has been very consistent for a long time. Okay, Quinton Jansen. Who should I captain? Morata, Kane, Salah or Sane? I'm going Kane, but to be honest, the stats to me suggest Salah. AM Saturday, which Arsenal defender? He wants to know which Arsenal defender would be safe. Would say remove Davies to Daniels and Carroll out for you, JNO. I do need to take Davies out, but it seems to be every time I think that's a transfer I need to make, I hear he's going to play, and then I hope for a 14-point return like he did twice this season already. Carroll definitely needs to go. Siraj Karanja, Mustafi is a cheap option for Arsenal defender. Mustafi's not a bad option, and he can score goals. I think it's overhyped how many goals he can score. I think people suggest like he's like this defender that always gets in the box and gets headers on goal. But at 5.4 million, that isn't bad, and he is favoured by by Arsene Wenger. But I mean, you've got Ward, you've got Loughton, you've got Jones at 5.4, you've got Monreal, who seems a lot more less injury prone. So there's other options than Mustafi, but Mustafi is popular. Man, streaming so long, my rear end's getting a bit dead. Mustafi is a cheap. Read that already. Does Bournemouth versus Burnley have 0-0 written all over it? Both teams have 3 clean sheets in their last 4. It wouldn't surprise me if it was 0-0, but again, both teams are capable of scoring goals. So if you have a player from those teams, I wouldn't worry too much about putting him in. There's always the potential for a goal though, so you never know. Keep Rashford and Vardy or sell, please suggest. I have decent midfield and defence and third striker is Kane. I think I've already kind of answered this. I think someone else asked it though. I don't think Rashford and Vardy are necessary. If you're going for cheap strikers to have a better midfield, you don't need both Rashford and Vardy. You surely only need one of them and then an even cheaper player so you can really beef up that midfield. So that isn't the way I would go about it, having Rashford, Vardy and Kane. I would have maybe one of those with Kane and then someone cheaper. But I'm always more in the favour of having two really good strikers myself. Josh96 brings up a great point. Bit confused as how people can go into game weeks and be fine not owning Salah. His ownership is approaching 50%, which could be punishing. That is very true, and it's something, to be honest, I've dropped the ball on a bit, because it's something I did a video about in pre-season. Keeping an eye on ownership can be vital, and I've not done it. So fair play to already forgotten the name. I apologise. Josh96. Go on then. The wife's brought me another beer. She somehow knew I'd just finished.
Did you get your 60-second beer?
Okay. Well, I was at 75 earlier.
Oh.
Where were you earlier?
Sorry.
By the way, in the chat, put some hearts for my wife. Apparently she is watching. So yeah, sorry, back to my point. Ownership. If we have a look at ownership, now, I explained it in a video that I did. Can I actually link it? No, I don't want you guys to go watch it now, so I won't link it. But it is there. I might link it on when I re-upload this video. If a player is highly owned and you don't have him, that hurts you more than if you do have him. Because if you have him, but everyone else has him, if he has a good game week, you all have a good game week. If he has a bad game week, everyone has a player that's had a bad game week. However, if you don't have him and everyone has a good game week, your rank plummets. Oh, excuse me, a bit of wind. However, the other way goes, if you don't have him and he has a bad game week, you need someone else to score you points to have a good game week. So maybe at the end of the season, if you're trying to go above people, above you, in either the game or in a mini league, then you might want to go against the grain of high ownership. But if Salah scores 16 points, 46% of people are going to get 16 points. If you don't have him, you're not getting those 16 points. So you need someone else to be getting you those 16 points. And then you've got to consider maybe 10% of those people put him as their captain. They're getting 32 points. So not having Salah, when he gets that high in ownership, can really hurt you. Another example is De Gea. Every time De Gea gets a clean sheet, I'm starting about 6 points behind everyone else. I'm starting behind 42% of the playing population. Now with Lukaku, 46.4. Yes, that is a worry, because if he does do well, then I'm not getting those points. But he's not been consistently setting the world alight. I have players getting me 5 points, 6 points. Last time he got over 10 was in game week 5. Whereas Salah has got over 10 points in game week 1, game week 3, game week 5, game week 11 and 12. And there are players in the striker position that's ownership is high enough that can counterbalance it. So 38.1% isn't too far behind 46.4. So I have one of the high ownership strikers. If I had both of these two, Kane and Morata, I've got two of the high ownership strikers. Whereas Sane is a hell of a lot further behind Salah as far as the highest ownership midfielder. So you'd need a couple of those and two of them to do well, or one of them to do well, to keep up with Salah. That is why Grosh and Richarlison are really important now, because they're cheap enablers that are owned by a lot of people who are scoring points. So sometimes just looking at this is a safe way of considering how you'd make your transfer. I hope I didn't ramble on too long. But Josh96, fantastic point to bring up. I'm glad you did it, because it's something I should have mentioned. Sorry, I'm pouring a beer. I can't multitask. I'm a man. Rahul Game. Hello, all just joined. Not so good for me. 47 points. Only dropped in over a rank from 34k to 40k-ish. I guess. What about you, JNO? I'm up to 300 and something. 350 something thousand. So I've improved. I got 52 points, so I was above the average. Yush Valur brings up how much Stoke concede, which is a good point. Some easy fixtures with Liverpool. Is Solanke worth a try? I mean, if you really want to take a risk, a punt, that would be a difficult one to go with. Watford do have 3 tough games, but Watford have been performing, and I don't want to take a player out just because of 3 tough fixtures. I'd kind of hope that the rest of my team would have easy enough fixtures to carry Richarlison. Purely because I have work to do on my side anyway as well. If my side was perfect, then I can maybe take out Richarlison and then bring him back in. But you never know. If Richarlison still continues to score against these tough sides, he could continue to rise in price and you might not be able to bring him back in. Is it better to sell Chupo and buy in Ruben Loftus-Cheek, or buy Gross and have 0.2 million? I'd say Gross, because Gross looks really good so far. Do I think Niasse will be a good budget alternative? I've tried that once, and it kind of burned me a bit, because he wasn't starting, so I worried. I took him out, and then he continued to score. Niasse is a good budget alternative if you're ready to accept the fact that, 1, he might not always start. 2, when the new manager comes in, the new manager might not like him, Nathan. And 3, he could possibly score while being on your bench, which always hurts to watch. Siraj asking how Aguero's doing. Did Aguero pick up an injury? Because you guys should have told me that quicker. I'm joking. As far as this website goes, Aguero doesn't have an injury, but it just may not have been updated yet because the game has only just finished, of course. It's quite new news if it is the case. Ayush Valur with a very thankful reminder. Niasse is still suspended, isn't he? So, yeah, I wouldn't bring him in just yet. Thomas McCarthy, please like and share. Thank you very much, Thomas. Faithfully plugging the channel. No. AM Saturday, thank you. Don't thank me, thank you. You give me reason to do these videos, so it's all good. Ayush Valur, Aguero missed 2 to 3 chances, which were very easy. To be honest, every striker has that game. The fact that they're getting chances is what's really important, and then as long as they don't always miss them. Ilyas Hussein, is it time to get rid of Lukaku for Kane with decent fixtures? I'd say it's time to get rid of Lukaku already, but I don't know. Like, Lukaku could do really well because Lukaku's the type of player that when he's on form, he is on form. So is Kane. So I could say yes, and then it goes completely opposite way. But I personally prefer Kane. Ayush, how does Pep pull hair out of his scalp? With tweezers? I'm not sure he should be taking tweezers to games. I would say keep Vardy. I mean, if Leicester score, Vardy's most likely going to be involved, isn't he? So, goal involvement wise, Vardy has always been pretty decent for Leicester. Who keeps Lukaku instead of Kane? Man United fan. Good one. Spurs have been limping last few weeks, man. Yes, they have. I think there might just be a lull in their performance after their high of beating Real Madrid. Sometimes what happens is when you beat a side like Real Madrid and you're not expecting to, sometimes that has a negative effect because you feel on cloud nine, you feel like you're going to go to these games and beat these sides, and then you suddenly realise it's still tough to beat West Brom. So I reckon it will turn around, but yes, I feel like I spent way too much of the season with Eriksen in my side. Asad Tariq, the legend, back at it again. If you're talking about me, cheers, but I'm not going to assume you're talking about me. Best goalie going forward. De Gea is the safest option with the highest ownership, but I'm putting my money on Nick Pope. He's my new Tom Heaton. He's my new Bay. Jack Nash, I'm currently ranked 24k, and it's all thanks to your advice. Thanks, dude. Well, one, Jack, I'm really pleased for you. But two, I wish I followed my advice as well as you did, because I give out the advice and I'm not 24k. Yushfalur, Jenna, I have a idea. Keep a sort of bet, like if certain players get more than a certain amount of points, you'll complete a dare of some sort to attract more views. Yeah, but I'm worried what dares you guys would expect me to do, man. What are you guys trying to get me to do? It's got to be reasonable. I still not got down to the super chat from Jeff. That's how many questions are in this stream. Wow. Yeah, I just dropped to the bottom of this chat stream and I've realised how many questions I've still got to answer. Wow. You guys really have been popping off the questions. Okay, I am going to pick up answering these questions a bit because, yeah, I've got work tomorrow morning. Jeez Louise. I did not realise how far behind I was. I'm still scrolling, guys. Just seen the potatoes. Alright, so we're going to have to do a bit of quick fire. So, if I ignore your comment, it's purely because it's not a question. Other than that, yeah, all I can do is apologise because I did not realise how many questions you guys have been asking. Okay, so, as far as the bet goes, I'm sure we can agree to something. Maybe we should have ideas suggested in the comments of the video when I put it up as a re-upload. And then I can put it in a poll in the next live stream. So the first live stream, you guys could go on it after it's live and just suggest ideas. And then I'll do a poll and you guys can vote in the second live stream. And then we'll see what we do after from there. Did Harry Kane get 24 points against Leicester last year? He can do it again. I think he did. I remember him doing rather well. But I'm not going to look at it. Kibby Pinelli, why are you ignoring me, dude? I'm sure I've answered your question, Kibby. If I haven't, I apologise, but trust me, I'm so far behind the chat, I may just have not got to your question yet. Josh Omram, 525th in the league. M Saturday, Fabianski Begovic, I'm thinking that's a suggestion. To be honest, Sane hasn't been outstanding last 3 game weeks. Wish I had Hazard instead. Then I would have to do a Kolasinac to like a 4.5. Not sure it's worth it. That's fair to say because Sane hasn't really returned the points, has he? I would say Hazard has shown consistency, whereas Sane is still pretty new to the league. But I feel like Sane will do well. I think he will get back on it. Keep Otamendi after performance or change him for Arsenal defender. One own goal doesn't make you a bad defender, so I'm going to stick with him for a little bit longer. But going to an Arsenal defender isn't a bad move. If you really don't trust Otamendi, I would make the move. Sermon to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, a good move. I feel like that's an unnecessary move. You don't need to improve Sermon. He's doing alright for you. Although, if you're thinking Ruben Loftus-Cheek is going to get a lot of returns in goals and assists, then make the move now before he goes up in price. Jesus and Choupo-Moting out for Niasse and Hazard. I don't mind that move, although Niasse is still out for one more game. Quinton Jansen. Yeah, I've just realised a few questions ago, mate. I've only just got to TP's answer to one of my questions to him. Okay, I hope that works out for you, Real DMC. The transfer from Decore to Richarlison. Double game week is something where teams play twice in a game week because they've had games delayed because of cup games or Champions League games. Usually happens second half of the season. Usually after game week, usually game week 34 and 37. But last year we had one in game week 28. Morata for Jesus, as we're taking so much. Yes, definitely go for that, Alex. Are you going to get Charlie Daniels soon? That is a consideration for Davies. It will give me some money to spend elsewhere. Downgrade defence, bringing Hazard. Morata and Azpilicueta already triple up. If you're going to triple up, it would be now with their fixtures. I transfer Hazard for De Bruyne. Is that a good move? I think it is overall. I think Hazard's more likely to get points at Chelsea. Man City have a lot of players that can get chances. We got the Spuds for any of the haters of the channel. Castani's going to go with a Solanke move. If that pays off to you, come back to the chat, hold your hands in the air and declare yourself the saviour. Calvert-Lewin isn't a bad choice because he does start the Chrissy 95. Good to see you in the chat. I wouldn't go with him because he still is a rotation risk sometimes though. Would Captain Morata help you go up in my league? If you're fully focused on my league and not overall rank, Morata probably wouldn't help you out that much because I've been saying bring in Morata for a while. Also, guys in the chat, let me know what you'd think about a Flock t-shirt. If you guys would buy it, I could release it for Christmas. Engel is at 4 point. Best cheap striker. Best cheap striker. I've been looking at Callum Wilson and Niasse when he comes back from his suspension. Other than that, Tammy Abraham's still an option. And Glenn Murray. Sorry, I've got a blocked nose, which sometimes stops me breathing properly while I'm speaking. Guatam, I've already answered that. Sean Tan. Team is Pope, Elliott, Asby, Ward, me, Hazard, Mariappa, Sane, Salah, Gross, Carlson, Morata, Kane, Niasse. Who should you captain? Salah looks the most secure options captain. He's been returning regularly, which probably means he won't return this game week. Joshua next week, captain, Kane, Morata, Salah, Hazard. Already answered. My instinct is saying Salah, but I'd probably still go with Kane myself. Okay, so Thomas McCarthy's team. Is that Forster, Elliott, Cedric, Hegarty, Mbemba, Otamendi, me, Salah, Carroll, Richarlison, David, Silva, Ericsson, Kane, Abraham. I'd say Ericsson needs to go. I'd say David Silva, there's better options out there. Carroll, there's better options out there. Mbemba needs changing just because it's best to have a player that plays. Those are the players I'd look at changing first. Yes, Sarfak, Kana, I would transfer in Salah for De Bruyne. If someone could put the league code in the chat just while I'm trying to get through these questions. Sane out. I was just about to get Sane in, and now everyone's saying Sane out. I need to look at his stats more closely to make that decision. It could just be a period where he's not been converting his chances. Captain next week for me, Salah or Jesus. If I think Pep will play Jesus, I'm thinking it'll go on him. He's got a 20-point week in him, I know it. I think he does as well, but Pep Guardiola keeps messing with us, mate. That's the problem, Real DMC. Most people captain Kane, so captain Morata or Hazard. Again, that's the ownership question. If you don't captain Kane and he does come in with a 3 goals or 2 goals, that's going to hurt you if your striker doesn't. Morata and Hazard said Lukaku and Sane. If you've got Man City coverage elsewhere, I'd agree. Definitely Morata over Lukaku for me. AM Saturday, in stream, I'm usually talking about the normal, like the bluebird, or a bird that flies. I do often talk about the other type of bird. It is part of my vocabulary, I'm not going to lie. Sane out, Pogba in. I mean, Pogba, if Pogba can keep up with Sane's output, Pogba's cheaper. I do believe Pogba's vital to that Man United side, so I do think he's a good shout. I do think Sane is nailed on, though, as well. So that's a difficult choice for me. I'm trying to get both in my side, but Hazard is definitely popping up as an option I should try and get in as well. Siraj points out Pogba has Arsenal on the weekend. That could be a ball draw, of course, with Mourinho around. Josh Omram, I agree. Pascal Gross is someone we should probably get in quick. Tammy Abraham out for Calvert-Lewin? Potentially. To be honest, neither have set the world alight for me. I definitely agree with Desiree Chirija. Morata and Chelsea players are good to get in overall. Ayesh Valur is spitting bars. Siraj, I agree. Spending money in midfield and defence is the way to go. Darijin Kaluchech needs Hazard. I think a lot of us need Hazard right now. Sane is one of the first starters for City. That is why I'm looking at him. Thank you for that, Quinton Jensen. Okay, so Sean Tan's got his team in the chat. I think I may have read this already. If I have, apologies. But the one I'd captain out of that team, I'd go Salah most likely. But Kane and Hazard are both choices. Dom Stimfig is Stimpfig. I only messed it up because I rushed it. I know how to say your name, mate. He says Morata. Oh no, sorry, you both have the same avatar. You can tell I've had a few drinks now. And to be honest, I'm a lot more of a lightweight when I'm now I'm older. But welcome back, Dom Stimpfig. TP Football Analysis has checked out my my pet hate in the Fantasy Premier League community. Should I take a gamble and get Benteke? My answer would be no, Dom Stimpfig. You see how I say your name all the time because I want you to remember that I know how to say it. Jesus to Morata and also get rid of Kane. Jesus to Morata, yes. I still don't think you need to get rid of Kane just yet. Siraj has not had the best of luck. Ali to Salah. He got Ali instead of Salah. He got KDB instead of Hazard. Ouch. Thomas McCarthy with the birds in the chat. Murray or Calvert-Lewin. I'd go Glenn Murray just because he's actually had some very good game weeks which can make a difference. And the assay, don't get him until after the ban. There's no point. Real DMC with all sorts of birds in the chat. Quinton Jansen wanted opinions on Callum Wilson. Didn't watch the game, so I can't really comment. Loving the birds. All sorts of birds in the chat. Even flames. Jeez. AM Saturday. Watch it. If you cook the birds. I mean, I like chicken, but never mind. Hazard instead of De Bruyne. Good choice. I'd say yes. Plays much more advanced. More likely to get FPL points. Signing out Pogba in. I think I've already answered that. I'd say Pogba's more vital than Sane is to their teams respectively, but Sane seems like a good option to me right now. Although, to be honest, if Sane is playing and one of Aguero or Jesus is playing, that kind of suggests Sterling's going to continue to play. And Sterling has done really well for his price tag. Okay, this stream's already going on way longer than I'm planning, but never mind. If you notice, I don't like not answering people's questions. So this could go on for a while, even though I should have stopped it already. Do I need a Chelsea defender? The answer is yes. Azpilicueta is the best choice. Christensen seems like the cheap choice because he keeps starting as far as the Premier League fixtures go. Zaha, keep him in your opinion? I'd say he's one of the best choices if you're going for Crystal Palace. I'd only say yes if you think their fixtures are good. If you think the fixtures are good, Zaha could return some points for you. Sarfak Kana has Zaha, KDB, Gross, Hazard and Richarlison as midfielders. All have decent fixtures lined up. Just want to get Salah in. Who to remove? KDB. All the others are very attacking players who are going to get returns. KDB can get returns, but most of his play comes from slightly deeper, and I think the points get shared around the Man City lot, so that would be the one I'd get rid of. Captain Morata, Hazard or Kane? See, I want to go Kane. I don't know what's wrong with me. I always say Kane, and then I always get disappointed when he doesn't, but I'm always full of myself when he does score. I feel like Kane will score. That could be blind faith, though, to be fair. Ben? Alright, Yush. No need to point out Mbemba. That's just not nice. Good player bench will be important, Josh Omram. That is why Yush Faleur is taking a mick out of me for Mbemba. Darajan Kulicec, I would transfer out Ali for Hazard, to be fair. Dele Ali. AM Saturday agrees with me. Sorry, I'm just zipping through. To be honest, Ayush, if Martial was a nailed-on starter, he would be in everyone's side. I'm pretty sure of that. Thank you, Roger Morgan. If you're not subscribed, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Ayush Faleur, I'm glad you're just brushing your shoulders off and laughing at the haters for Richarlison and Grosh. I think I suggested both of them for ages, but I've only just got Richarlison in, and Grosh still hasn't touched my side. I am worried, Jerome, that Salah will get rested, but I'm hoping because he's been so on form that because of the pressure that Klopp's under, he won't rest the player that is putting the chances away. Jamal Rice, my Liverpool defence nemesis. The best captain picks this week, I've gone with Salah because the team he's playing concede a lot and he scores a lot. That's the basics of it. I could go over the numbers again, but I won't. I think Christensen is now getting game time. I think Christensen's been decided that he's more secure in defence than David Luiz. So I think Christensen will continue to play, which I'm happy to see because Chelsea are known for buying youngsters and not giving them a chance. So I'm hoping he keeps playing. Will Klopp rest Salah? Ayush Valur brings up a good point. Chelsea have plenty of defenders they can rotate for. Maybe Jeff. Basically, Jeff's come up with an idea for the channel. And he's saying, how about football and for quiz trivia? Questions and stuff like that. Potentially, I will get to that, hopefully, if we ever get to the end of these questions. Thomas McCarthy, you need to refresh to see the poll, I believe. Or have I not added it properly? I don't think I've added it. Yeah, for some reason it's not showing. I'm sure I added it. God damn it. What was the poll I was doing? I thought I did another poll after the what formation is best. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. This is what happens now. I'm starting to lose it, guys. Starting to lose the professionalism. Ollie Martin Kajor-Holt, I wouldn't take a hit to get in both Morata and Hazard, but I would bring in one of them. So if you need to take a hit to get in one of them, then I would. Yeah, it's basically what Siraj says. A 4-point hit, not too bad. Don't take an 8-point hit. I am 18. I'm illegal by about 7 years, yet clubbing a lot. 7 years? 18 you can get into clubs, can't you? Unless you're saying you've been going to clubs since you were 11. And that's to Ayush, by the way. Basically, Jeff, I would make the second channel wouldn't be about Fantasy Premier League. So I don't know if you're saying who scored the most as in FPL-wise. I have no problem making it a football-related channel, but it wouldn't be FPL-related. Sold Hazard last week for Sane. Was this wise? Unfortunately, Roger, I think the general consensus in the stream would be that's not wise. Hazard seems like he's about to go on a tear. Jesus and Richarlison for Wilson and Hazard. I wouldn't have got rid of Richarlison. I'm telling you guys, I think Richarlison and Grosh are the players that enable your team to get the most points because they have been outstanding for their price tag. Darajin Kulicek, Begovic, Ward, Daniels, Gomez, Ali, Salah, Richarlison, Zaha, Sane, Marta Kane, my team, your opinion. I'd say Ali can go. Otherwise, I'd quite like your team, to be fair. But Dele Alli, I don't think it's needed right now. He could suddenly have a great part of his season, but right now, Dele Alli isn't needed. You know what, Quinton? If I get to the end of the stream questions, I will put a poll up while I discuss the other stuff I wanted to talk about. Which Everton player scored for Iceland last week's World Cup playoff? Wasn't it Sigurdsson? Just answering because I like to answer questions. Lord Lindelof. Let's not be. We're not doing like Lord Bentner now, are we, with Lindelof? I'm surprised Grosh got bonus points and Trippier, to be fair. Five weeks of captain fails, world ranking 32,000. If your ranking's 32k, that's not bad. Quinton Jansen, if you're going to captain Kane, then I need to captain someone else. That's a good strategy. It might work. Don't take -8. -4 maybe. Don't take a -8. TP, I've tried a watch along. I did it with the Charity Shield. There's a couple of issues. One, I only have BT. Two, I often watch it. If I'm watching it and streaming, I'm not watching it on a live television. I'm streaming it to my iPad, which means I'm often behind, which might not work for you guys. Also, I work, and a lot of the times I'm not available for when a game has been played. I only get one weekend off a month at the moment, which works out for YouTube because I don't make the videos on the Saturday and Sunday. I watch the games. Also, I didn't seem to get as many views because people were actually just watching the game. So, I've noticed some channels get some traction with it though. So, it would be something I'd consider trying again. I am off the weekend coming up, so maybe we could try it. It's meant to be... I was meant to organise a party for my birthday this weekend, but it's just not happening. So maybe I can stream with you guys instead. Seeing as it's my birthday weekend, the wife may not be able to argue with me. Jesus is my captain for next week, so avoid. I think a lot of people are saying that. My captain, avoid. That's what a lot of people are saying. AM Saturday hailing Jeff Holt for the super chat. Thank you again so much for that, Jeff. Hereford just beat Oxford City, who are a league above them next week in the FA Cup. I'm off to dump. That is Fleetwood, 500 mile. Wow, that's commitment. 500-mile round trip. One day, TP, we'll have to go watch a Hereford game together. I think the rest of the guys would like to see that as well. I can vlog it. Keep Aguero for 2 game weeks, or take a -4 and switch to Morata now. Depending on what the rest of your team looks like, Anders, I would consider it. Morata to me seems a better option than Aguero. Should I get rid of Van Dijk now? I have no faith in Southampton, so I would get rid of Van Dijk. Following the Ashes, JNO, if I had more spare time, I would. The dream is I eventually become a big enough YouTuber that I can watch all the live events. I like rugby as well. I like cricket, I like football, I like rugby, I like UFC, I like boxing, I like wrestling. Not that it's a sport, but I like it. I like athletics. Not too bothered about tennis. But yeah, I don't get the time to watch them all. Rugby World Cup, I'd say, is the one that I take time off for, other than the football. I will book time off for the Football World Cup. Okay, it's like literally, I've just got to Jeff Holt's super chat. I don't know how far I still am behind. Jeff Holt making it rain. I mean, I think AM Saturday, I think the one person Jeff Holt's wife Maria may not mind Jeff throwing money at is me. So Ishfalur, don't worry. Whenever you can, if you want to, go for it. But like I've always said, if you can't, then I don't want it. Like, I understand the struggles, mate. There's a reason I still work. If the YouTube was making me enough, I would be doing like 2 videos a day. See, Quinton Jansen saying 62 people watching. Well done. Yeah, there's now only 39. Am I still that far behind? Another hoops, I'll take that on board if I think Jesus is starting. But I thought Jesus was starting this week, this game week. And then I thought I could transfer Jesus out because Aguero would start on Tuesday or Wednesday. Ishfalur, I don't believe that you packed 96 rated legend Ronaldo, because I'm trying to trade up to players like that, so I'm jealous if you have. As far as Tomo Morris's question, Aguero or Jesus to transfer in, I'd transfer neither in because it's too much of a risk. Ricarlson to Fabregas, I'd say no. some hearts in the chat for the wife. Thank you very much. See, I'm only getting to that bloody... I shouldn't say that on stream, but never mind. I've said it now, so... Yeah, but Real DMC, they were differentials. Now everyone's jumping on board. You already got the points over them, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Ishvalur, I hope all goes well with the studies. If Agatsu gets a massive score, we need to all applaud you. Quinton Jansen, again, thank you so much for joining the stream. Okay, TP, if I'm completely honest, I would take nearly every player in the starting 11 at Wimbledon because there's a massive difference between Premier League and League One. So maybe what I said isn't strictly true. So yes, I would take Austin, because especially Austin has a great goal scoring record in the Championship. Am I getting closer? I think I'm slightly getting closer. Okay, people suggesting 8.0 million price midfielders. Aaron Ramsey, if you don't have him, is a good shout. Mika Mklachi, that is true. If Ericsson and Ali aren't playing, the only people that really supply him other than those two are potentially the wing backs. Sorry, TP, I found that quite funny. Leaving the 2 tickets in the car, breaking in and leaving you 2 more. I mean, you could bring Grosh in and then you can upgrade your defence. Darajan, Kudacek. Alonso, I'm not risking again. I tried that and then he didn't score for weeks. Thomas, what are you doing? Ask more questions. You're trying to keep me here all night. Andre Gay as a third striker is slowly creeping acidic blitz into my thinking. I don't think he's scored loads, but he has quietly been getting points, hasn't he? I will quickly look at this just to confirm it. 655. That's not bad for a third striker. If he does that all the time, that's better than someone getting 17 points and then 2 blanks. I'm personally of the opinion, Darajan, that if you have one of Morata and Hazard, apart from this next 5 or 6 game weeks, you don't need both. But right now, if you can get both, that would be good. J Rock is in the chat. Sorry, you've probably been here for ages. I've only just seen your name. Instead of Lukaku, but you've already got Morata, I would go Kane, or if you... I don't really think there's any other option. Really. TP Football analysis team, who to transfer out? Richie jumps out. Lukaku and Richie. Otherwise, I quite like maybe Abraham as well. Kolosic, the key code's getting Hazard for Sane. Potentially, but look, just because you have 3 bad game weeks doesn't mean you're suddenly a bad player. There's the potential that Sane just turns around and scores like 2 or 3 goals. We've seen some of the goals he scores. He's a good player. I like your team, Acidic Blitz. There's not much wrong with that. Philip Simonson, I don't think anyone knows who's starting out of Aguero or Jesus. Trust me, FPL is difficult. You do need a general amount of consistency, TP Football Analysis, to get any traction. And to be honest, you could be really good and then still have a bad season. So don't worry about it too much. If your advice helps people, which is what I try and make sure happens, then people will start to look past your ranking. Because my ranking isn't great right now, is it? But people are using my advice and it helps. And I make sure my advice isn't absolute. I never come out and say, well, Kane's going to score 30 goals this season. Because I don't know that. He could get injured for half the season. You have to understand, football is a game where you can't always predict it. If I'd come out and said Leicester were going to win the league when they won the league, that would have been lucky. Because let's be honest, who actually said that? What would I change about your team? To be honest, there's not much I would change about your team. If that is Shane Long, I wouldn't have Shane Long in my team, but that's about it. Chaos in the chat. Thank you so much for joining, Chaos. Streams have been popping recently, so you've been missing out, man. But glad to see you in here as always. Tomo Morris. My personal opinion is Salah for KDB and then Kane for Lukaku is good. I know, AM Saturday, I'm just joking. I know you wouldn't cook the birds. You're too much part of the flock to be cooking birds. See you later, Siraj. Thank you for staying around for so long. Aguero, everyone agrees. If you're getting Aguero out, go for Morata. Choupo-Moting is alright for a while. I don't think their fixtures are terrible. They have Swansea, Burnley and West Ham with Liverpool and Tottenham, so it's not awful. Formation, we've all agreed 3-5-2 is the best bet at the moment with the points in midfield. I'm not sure which Wilson that is defensively. I'd say play both Bournemouth and Burnley players. It could be a 0-0 draw. That is for Mr. Killian Gubbins, we went with Salah. I've already spoken about this. Salah has the most chances from a midfielder and is playing a team that have conceded a lot over the last 6 game weeks in Stoke. I like how they last long, apart from the fact that I tried to make them quite quick, because, yeah, I should be asleep. Which 2 to play from me, Gray, Grosh, Choupo-Moting? Well, one of them is a defender, and one's a midfield. 2 are midfielders, and one's a striker. What are the fixtures? Stoke are playing... Where are Stoke? Liverpool. Brighton are playing Crystal Palace, so I'll play Grosh. Watford are playing Man United, and then what was the other option? Burnley are playing Bournemouth, so I'll play me, and Grosh would be my choices. TP for Christmas, I may not do anything massively special, to be fair, purely because I have to keep up with the game weeks, and that's difficult enough. If I do something with my other channel, anything very Christmas related would probably be on there. I've made transfers for -40. Philip Simonson, if you have done that, that's not a good move. And apologies if you've mentioned that earlier, but you don't want to be taking minuses. That comes off your overall ranking, and the point of the game is to get as high ranking as possible. Ah, nice to see a hater in the chat. It's been a while, hasn't it? Am I anywhere near? I think I'm getting close. Yeah, we can all celebrate a birthday together. I'm free now, so okay, the 3 o'clock PM games I have considered doing, and I really have wanted to try. Just every time I've been off, I've had something to do. I could try 7:45. I'd finish at 7. I might get back in time. I'd have to speak to the wife. My birthday is 4th of December. So that's Monday next week. Not this week coming up, but next week. I'm captaining Kane, Killian Gubbins. Sorry, TP, about not having faith in Southampton. Sorry, Roger Morgan. Unfortunately, when the stream is really kicking off, because I get into depth about questions sometimes, because I'm trying to be helpful, I do get behind the chat. So I promise you, Roger, and the guys in the chat can tell you this, I do get to people's questions, and I try and answer all the questions that are asked, like literally every single one. And I usually try and do an hour stream, but when the questions keep coming in, I often go on for a lot longer. As far as Sigurdsson, I'd stay away from Everton for the moment. They're not doing well, Darajan. Ramsey for Ali, I would say yes, because you're saving money which can be spent elsewhere. That TP, that sounds very similar to when I first started watching AFC Wimbledon. When a team has that much support, you can just get in the better players, and you do win ridiculous scorelines sometimes. All right, it's obviously it's clear I'm buzzed because AM Saturday can tell. Set and forget option for defenders. You know what? I really like Liverpool if you're looking for 5 game weeks, because of their fixtures: Stoke, Brighton, Everton, West Brom and Bournemouth. If not Arsenal, because they only have Man United in the next 5. And then Tottenham have Man City in game week 18, but Leicester, Watford, Stoke, Brighton, Hove Albion before then. So I'd look at those sides. Set and forget option. You could get quite a cheap player in that Liverpool defence and then forget about it and just leave them in the side. But I'd personally go with the Arsenal defence, because Man United can be quite defensive against difficult opposition. So maybe Mustafi or Monreal, and you could just forget about it. Chaos, the last one went almost 2 hours. The last one went 2 hours as well. The streams have started to get to that like level similar to pre-season. I do think Salah could get rotated, but I'm hoping when you have a player that on fire, do you really rest them when you want to be climbing that table? Mika, MC, Clatchy, LFC or Brady next game week? I'm assuming that's Loftus-Cheek. I'd say Loftus-Cheek personally. Yeah, we've gone over the players who look like they're going up. Morata was one. Morata, Hazard, Salah, Grosh, Callum Wilson and Ramsey are all looking like they'll go up in price tonight. I am a December baby, I am. My points this week was 52. Zane, would I recommend any changes to Zeem? Pope, Elliott, Daniels, Jones, Asby, me, and Bemba, David Silva, Salah, Richarlison, Sermon, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Jesus, Kane, Morata. Jesus can go because of rotation risks. David Silva, there's better options. And Bemba doesn't play. Those are the three I'll be looking at changing. Sterling for Silva, I think that might work out. TP, I did support Wimbledon before the whole MK Dons things happened. Jeff Holt, I got caught the other day climbing over a fence at Goodison Park. Copper caught me, made me go back in and watch the rest of the match. Oh dear. I thought that was serious for a second, for some strange reason. Is Heaton due to come back? Don't scare me like that. As far as I'm aware, Tom Heaton still doesn't have a scheduled return date, so we should still be good with Pope. 4.5 million replacement for Norton. He just got a clean sheet, Siraj. What are you replacing him for? I think we were looking at Bournemouth and Burnley defenders as replacements for Norton, and then Duffy if you don't want either of those two teams. Yeah, Otamendi hurt me as well. I had a much better rise before Otamendi. And I think we're at the bottom of the blimmin' questions. Jeez. That took a while to catch up as well. Gomez for 4.5 million. Definitely looks good. Possible clean sheets in the next 5 game weeks for Liverpool. Definitely. So, I'm sure some questions will come in while I get to this, but I do just want to say this before we finish the stream. I have a second channel, and it was initially going to be a Football Manager channel. It was JNOFM. If you haven't followed this channel for very long, I used to do other content on this channel other than FPL. I used to do FIFA, I used to do Football Manager, and I used to talk about other TV shows as well. Things like Survivor, things like Tough Enough, things like America's Best Dance Crew. So yeah, I did various different things, but FPL was the one that took off, so I changed it all to FPL. The other channel, I did Football Manager. I then started doing other games. I did some football videos. If you guys didn't know that, on JNO, there are some football videos where me trying to do challenges against some of my friends. And also some random stuff, like some random comedy attempts. So go check that out if you want to see it. It's all still there. But I have this second channel, and potentially I'm going to get a new camera this Christmas, which means I can vlog. Part of me is thinking of vlogging. Not that I've got the most interesting life, but it wouldn't just be like a vlog. It would be like a vlog channel with stuff similar to, if you guys know Will & E, me talking about stuff that has just interested me for that week. And I might just do a video a week, I don't know for definite. Or I'm thinking of doing a football channel where I talk about football without the FPL stuff. I tried the football recap on this channel. Personally, it didn't get the views I was hoping it would get, so I might do that on the other channel. I could do football challenge videos with this new camera, so you could see me playing football. I'm not the best, but it might be funny to watch someone try and be good at football that isn't. So, and then I would like to do some sort of streaming on that as well. But to be honest, I think with 2 streams on this channel every week, I doubt I'll be streaming on that channel. It'll probably just be a weekly thing with additional videos on the other channel. So, in the chat right now, and in the comments when this video goes re-uploaded, please tell me what you guys would like to see me do. If you would just like to see me talk about football without FPL, if you'd like to see the vlog, if you'd like to see football challenges, and then I can kind of gather what kind of support I'd get for each kind of venture, which would be really helpful. And I will stop chatting about that because I know you guys are here for FPL. So I'll just make sure I answer any additional questions that have been asked. I saw Oxlade-Chamberlain in non-league football yesterday. And then I will sign off because we have been going for 2 hours, 17 minutes. Wow, loads of people left when I started talking about something that wasn't FPL. I hope you wake up on time, Siraj. You really do. You can leave if I'm going on for too long. I'll consider that, TP. I could just answer questions from the beginning and then whatever topics I want to discuss. The reason I do it the other way, TP, is because some people probably don't want to just watch me answer question after question when I re-upload the video. So I'm trying to make the video re-watchable when I upload it afterwards. That is why you often get me doing a little 10-minute bit, which is just me with some sort of content. But I will consider that, especially if a lot of people support your statement. Sarkaf Kana, Pope Ward Walker. If I would change anyone in that team, it would probably be Firmino, because I just think Salah's the options I have from that Chelsea side. As far as vlogs going to footy matches, the problem is, again, me being at work when footy matches are on. Jeff Holt, I will try and do another stream at 8 PM tomorrow. The wife may kill me, but that is the plan. I support AFC as well, though, Chaos. I'd go Salah for captain, Noah Joseph. And Jeff, that sounds like a good idea. Just generally be a football channel, but still like talk normally as well. And thank you, TP, for that input. I'm glad you enjoy enjoyable content, and I'm glad that you think mine is. Anyway, guys, I will call the stream now because we have been going for 2 hours and 19 minutes. So, again, this stream has been great. We're clearly building momentum with the stream back to the levels of pre-season even. And pre-season, there's a lot more people looking for this stuff. So thank you guys so much for all that support. Various ways you can support the channel. As you know, don't triple captain Murata, Sarkaf, Kana. Please don't do it. Definitely don't do it. And yeah, if you want to support the channel, various links in the description down below. You can, of course, do a super chat like the legend Jeff Holt did during streams if you want to show me your support. There's also ways you can sponsor the stream. I think it's £5 a month or $5 a month to support the stream, and then you get special emojis if 2 or more of you do it, and various other ways, because yeah, eventually I would like to do this full time because then I can bun off work. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been FPL Today. I've been J&O. I think I've done that the wrong way round because I've had a couple of beers. And remember, it's all about the game.